We took things for granted. We expected coffee in the morning. We expected free Wi-Fi. When those were taken from us, we survived. When communications broke down, the trains stopped and the internet went dark, we survived.
But when the pharmacies were looted and hospitals shut down, asthma became lethal. And with no police to protect you, did you own a gun?
Did your neighbor?
Some survived.
We are a resilient species. When our society collapsed, we found ways to go on. And now, for the first time in centuries, what we want is also truly what we need. In the face of disaster, we helped each other.
We built new communities in the ruins of the old. We adapted. We survived, established a new normal. But there are also those who build nothing, create nothing.
Hyenas preying on the weak. They've made our world bleed. But we don't stand alone. A brave few have sworn to protect us and save what remains. They unite us.
Remind us that we are one people. They are our shield and our light. But if that light goes out,
who can save us then?
This sounds like a job for the mighty Jingles. Wait, what? Why are you all screaming and running for the exits? Seriously, it'll be fine. I'm a professional. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to The Division 2 private beta test. Fans of the original game are going to be right at home here. Everything you liked about The Division is back. It's often been improved and expanded upon, or it's had the fat and clutter trimmed away so it's more accessible. There doesn't really appear to be anything particularly innovative about The Division 2. It's just more of the same, but better. Of course, that also means that they're unlikely to be winning the hearts and minds of people who played the original Division and decided that they didn't like it very much, and there were a fair number of people who fell into that category. Mostly, I suspect, because of the way the game treats combat. And it hasn't changed in The Division 2. You see, people had a certain level of expectation when they see a game with the name Tom Clancy in the title. They expected a realistic, cover-based tactical shooter. And they sort of half got that. It retains the cover-based mechanics of the first game, which do work very, very well. But the tactical shooting bit, well, it didn't take long for people to realise that while it certainly looked like they were playing a tactical shooter, what they were actually playing was World of Warcraft with a tactical shooter skin. Because while the game definitely did a very good job of making it look like you were firing an assault rifle at an enemy, what you're actually doing is casting an assault rifle spell at an enemy. And while the game does a very good job of hiding this, providing all that you're shooting at are the random commoner guard and pleb enemies that make up the bulk of the opponents that you're going to be fighting in The Division and The Division 2, the second you came across something a little tougher, like a veteran or an elite enemy, it instantly became blindingly obvious that you weren't actually playing a tactical shooter. It just looked like you were playing a tactical shooter, and what you were in fact playing was a World of Warcraft clone with a tactical shooter skin. Because I don't care how badass you think you are, nobody should be able to take 100 assault rifle bullets to the head before going down. And so if that's the sort of thing that flagged up a great big nope flag for you with the original Division, well, the Division 2 is exactly the same. The core gameplay mechanics have not changed at all. What has changed, however, are a number of the supporting mechanics. In particular, something that I absolutely loved about the original game. Your base of operations. I loved the way that your base of operations was essentially an extension of your own character. And as you went through the game and upgraded your base of operations, you not only unlocked new facilities for the base, but you unlocked new abilities and perks for yourself. Upgrading your base made a definite impact on how powerful you were out in the world. And so I was kind of disappointed that in the original game, before I'd even reached the level cap, I'd fully upgraded my base of operations, the Pennsylvania Street Post Station in Manhattan. And I was able to continue leveling up my character without any further expansion to the base, at least until I reached the level cap. And even then, I was able to continue upgrading the character in the sense that I was earning new gear and getting better gear combinations and so on and so on. But the base of operations never really changed. It was as if they said, well, this is a really cool idea for while you're leveling up. But they never bothered to really capitalise on it. Once it was done, it was done. Well, that doesn't seem to be the case here in the Division 2. You also have a base of operations, or I will once I've completed this introductory mission here on the White House lawn, because the White House up ahead is going to be your primary base of operations. And right here at the beginning of the game, as you can quite clearly see, it's in a pretty shit-old state. On the verge of being overrun by groups of paramilitary scavengers. And all of this is a result of, well, what happened in the first game. The Division 2 set 7 months after the original Division, in which the dollar flu, a genetically engineered virus impregnated into dollar bills and put into circulation around the Black Friday sales, completely shut Manhattan down, killing most of the population, forcing the government to attempt to quarantine the island and send in the Division and the Joint Task Force to re-establish order. What's happened in the Division 2 is that unfortunately the quarantine wasn't quite as successful as the government may have hoped, and all of America, if not the entire world, has fallen victim to the disease. This game, as you can tell by our new base of operations, the White House, is set firmly in Washington. Now, building up and expanding and unlocking elements within your base in the first game was a huge part of not just the gameplay, but also the story. There were several story missions that involved you going out and rescuing or otherwise recruiting personnel who are going to be essential to getting your base up and running. The head of medical, security, and the engineering divisions, for example. And there's plenty more of that here in the Division 2. At the beginning of the game, once you've completed the introductory White House lawn mission, the first member of your crew that becomes available is the Quartermaster. And the Quartermaster is, well, he's probably the most important one, because skill unlocks are purchased at the Quartermaster. And here he is. This is Coop Dennison. Hello, Coop. What have you got for me today? Okay, I have 2 skill unlocks. Now, the range of skills that were actually available in the private beta were a little limited. All you have are the turret, the seeker mine, and the drone. Things like the pulse, the chem launcher, and unfortunately the shield were not available yet for testing. Also available at the Quartermaster, and something that at first appears to be pretty much the same as in the first game, but is in fact very different, are your perks. Now, the first perk that you're going to want to pick is obviously going to be the ability to carry an additional primary weapon. So when you run out of assault rifle ammunition, you can switch to a shotgun or a submachine gun or a marksman rifle or whatever. But further down the list of available perks are some very interesting new additions. Well, maybe new additions isn't the right way to describe them. You see, if you can remember playing the original Division, your bags were often cluttered up with a bewildering array of weapon modifications that you would keep a hold of just in case they would become useful on a new weapon that you might pick up later to replace your existing ones. Weapon upgrades are now treated as unlocks in the Division 2, so you no longer have to carry dozens of them around just in the off chance that you might find a use for them. In the Division 2, if, for example, I was to spend a shade point to unlock a 5.56mm magazine modification, I could equip that modification, because now it's just an unlock, it's not an actual physical piece of equipment. I could equip that modification on any of my weapons now and forevermore that's fed by magazines and uses 5.56mm ammunition. And the same thing goes for underrail mounts, scopes, laser pointers, and suppressors. They're now just unlocks, they're not actual pieces of equipment. And once you've unlocked them, they can be fitted to any weapon that takes that particular modification. So a nice little quality of life feature, reducing the amount of clutter in your bags, but it's hardly groundbreaking. Well, here in the Theatre District, which is right outside the White House, we're going to come across what I was talking about when I said that they've massively expanded upon the whole concept of the base of operations. I mean, we've seen our base of operations, the White House, and at the moment, right at the beginning of the game, it's pretty basic. But once you get out of the White House and into Washington DC itself, well, just like in Manhattan, there are safe houses where you can respawn or fast travel between one and the other once you've unlocked them and found them, and from which various missions become available. But each district has a settlement. This is the one in the theatre district, and it's called, appropriately enough, the theatre settlement. And it functions basically like a sort of district base of operations, in much the same way that the White House functions as your base of operations for the whole of Washington DC. And so you're going to be spending a large part of the game running missions from these settlements within each individual district within Washington, not only to improve the settlements and improve the quality of life for the people living in the district, but also to provide upgrades and benefits both directly and indirectly for yourself, because upgrading these settlements unlocks new members of personnel for the main base of operations in the White House. It's a sort of mutually self-supporting system. As you improve the facilities and the conditions for the people living inside these settlements, they'll go from simply sending out scavenging patrols into the streets in order to gather the food and supplies that they need to just exist, to a state where they become self-sufficient, and they can actually start sending patrols out into the streets, which helps to raise the security level of the district, which not only makes it safer for the people in the settlements, because the streets are infested with all different kinds of gangs, just like in the original game, but also makes it safer for you while you're out in the streets, running your various missions, and you can in fact directly call upon support from the people in the settlements while you're out there in the streets, getting stuff done. And as you'd expect, the level and quality of the support that you can call upon is directly related to just exactly how far you've managed to upgrade the district settlement. Well, all of this sounds great in the abstract, Jingles, but how about you give us some actual gameplay examples of the sort of thing that you're talking about? Okay, I will. But in order to illustrate just how different this is from the original game, I'm going to have to give you an example from the original game, just to put the whole thing into contrast. Players of the original Division will recall that once you'd been exploring Manhattan for a while, you came to know that there were certain areas that were basically guaranteed to be very, very heavily defended. Areas of the city that had pretty much been turned into strongholds or control points by the various different gang and lawless factions that were effectively running the streets of Manhattan. And you knew that if you wanted to head down in a certain part of the city, you were pretty much going to have to fight your way through these control points. And it didn't matter how many of them you killed, within 10 to 15 minutes they were just going to respawn. There were areas that were always going to be dangerous to move through. Well, you've kind of got that in the Division 2, but if you deal with them, they stay dealt with. And in fact, taking control of these control points from the enemy factions within each district are an essential part of raising the overall security level of the district and improving the quality of life of the settlements, which therefore leads to upgrades that they can send back to your main base of operations at the White House. Right now I'm in the process of ambushing a patrol sent out by a gang known as the Hyenas, and that patrol has been sent out from a demolition site, which is a control point for the Hyena gang. It's situated not too far from the White House, directly on the route between the White House and the theatre settlement. That's the control point over there on the other side of the road. Now obviously with the Hyenas in control of this place, they're sending patrols out, which is making life extremely hazardous for me, because every time I leave the White House to head to the theatre settlement, I've got to get past this control point. So I'm using my flare gun, and I'm summoning assistance from the theatre settlement, and we're going to attempt to take control of the control point from the Hyenas. Now there are going to be many benefits to this if we can successfully take control. First and foremost, I'm not going to have to walk past a control point of very aggressive enemies every time I leave the White House to head to the theatre settlement. Plus, each control point also contains a storeroom, which has lots and lots of very valuable equipment. If the Hyenas manage to lose this place, they're no longer going to be capable of sending patrols out from it, which is obviously going to make life a lot easier in the area immediately around this demolition site. In fact, even more so, because what's going to happen is the people from the theatre settlement are going to take control, assuming we're successful, and they're going to send their own patrols out, bringing in resources from a wider area than just the immediate vicinity of the theatre settlement itself. And their patrols are going to make things more safe on the street for me and everybody else. And all of this, of course, is going to raise the overall security level of the district and help to upgrade the theatre settlement directly. So it's all good stuff. There is quite literally no downside to taking these control points from the gangs. Of course, it's a lot easier said than done. They have a minigun set up there. And it looks like I've got another returning hyena patrol coming back from a scavenging run on my flank. There's a veteran up there. I particularly hate the grenadiers in this game, because just when you got yourself behind a nice solid piece of cover, they lob a grenade to take you out. And yep, there's the minigunner. Right. Try and get the veteran's head down, but I'm going to have to deal with the minigunner. What I absolutely definitely don't want is for somebody to lob a grenade at me while I'm pinned down behind this car with a guy firing a minigun at me. The thing about grenadiers, though, is that while they are a colossal pain in the arse, you can often, if you... Ow, shit, that hurt. Yeah, let's get the hell out of here. You can often, if you shoot them while they're priming and in the act of throwing a grenade, you can often make them fumble it and they'll in fact drop the grenade at their own feet, with hilarious consequences. You can see the theatre settlement people that I summoned with my flare gun have moved right up on the flank. Oh shit, yeah, there's that returning patrol. Not good, not good. I was attempting to move up on the other flank to support them, but nope, 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 nope. No, that's bad. Where are they? Taking fire from down that street. Alright, well I'm in cover from there, so let's assist the people from the settlement in dealing with the remainder of the resistance. Yeah, there is definitely... There he is. It's a grenadier. Nope, nope, not having that. Die, 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 die. Okay, good. Right, let's close in and finish this off. Alright, boys, on me. Oh, okay, you just go ahead and do your own thing then. That's fine. Don't mind me, just pretend I'm not here. Oh, grenadier needs to die. Oh, enemy leader detected. This is going to be an elite. I'll deal with these grenadiers first. Come on, stick your head up so I can shoot it. There we go, good. And is that a vet? No, it's an elite. Okay, that's not good. That's not good at all. I'm completely out of armor kits. Armor kits have replaced health kits in the Division 2, by the way. Although they work exactly the same way as health kits. Oh, hang on a second. I have a cunning plan. You get on that minigun. That'll make life a hell of a lot easier. Especially since that sucker has just ran out into the open down there. Right, where is he? Oh, deal with the ones that are easy to kill first. There he is. Come on, stick your head up. Nothing to be afraid of here. There he is. Yeah, cover's overrated. There we go, control point cleared. But we are not done, because now they're going to counterattack and we have to defend the control point. So, back on the minigun. Here they come. Have to be careful here, because the minigun can overheat. Is that it? Another enemy leader on the way. Oh, right. You can imagine how tough this would be if I didn't have the minigun. But I kind of do have the minigun, so haha, sucks to be you. Come on, bring your little friends as well. Plenty of minigun ammo for everybody. And that's it. Enemy leader neutralised, and I think, yep, demolition site captured. So that was nice. And I have really enjoyed playing the private beta of The Division 2, and I am kind of looking forward to when the game is eventually released next month. But I don't anticipate that anybody who tried the original game, didn't like it, is going to suddenly start looking forward to The Division 2 as a result of this video, because it is very much a case of more of the same. I mean, yeah, sure, they've trimmed off a lot of the fat. The weapon modification system in particular is just so much easier now. And they've expanded on certain of the original game's features that I absolutely loved. I'm very, very happy with the way the district settlements and the main base of operations works now in the second game. And I hope to see them continue to expand on those kind of features. But I'm not fooling myself here. If you had played the original Division and didn't like it, there is absolutely nothing here that's going to convince you to come back for the Division 2. It is pretty much more of the same. But if you did enjoy the original Division, you're probably really going to enjoy the sequel. And if that's the case, it's available on the 15th of March. The only decision you have to make is how much money you want to throw at Ubisoft in order to be able to enjoy the privilege of playing it. There's the standard edition for a mere £49.99, or the gold edition for £83.99. If that's not enough, there's the increasingly unrealistically named Ultimate Edition for £100. Why do you say increasingly unrealistic? Well, what's ultimate about it when there are two further editions of the game that you can buy? The Dark Zone Edition, which is basically just a different kind of Ultimate Edition, also for £100. And then if you've completely taken leave of your senses and you absolutely definitely must own the Tommy the Teddy Bear Backpack Trophy, you can throw £214.99 at Ubisoft's shareholders for the privilege of owning the Phoenix Shield Edition. Although, to be completely fair, throwing this ridiculous amount of money at Ubisoft does allow you to play early from the 12th of March. Yeah, no, I think I'll just wait until the 15th and pay for the standard edition like everybody else who isn't a fucking idiot. But I almost certainly will still be playing it because I, well, kind of like it. And if you were a fan of the original game, you probably will too. Anyway, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and as always, take care, and I'll catch you next time.
Intelligent System Analytic Computer reactivated. All ISAC subsystems operational.